Beam.
Present.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Present.
Councilmember Helly. Hagan.
Present.
Fisher.
Present.
Enright.
Present.
King.
Present.
Austin.
Present.
We have a quorum, Your Honor.
Thank you. Item 1 is a motion for adoption of the agenda. We need a motion. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 2 is a motion approving the meeting minutes from September 18, 2017. We need a motion. So moved. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? We have nothing under recognitions and awards. Number 4, we need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Number 5, under public hearings is a resolution reviewing a tax abatement application from Tom and Lisa Bodler. Greg.
Thank you, Mayor and members. We've received an application for abatement from Tom and Lisa Bodler. The prospective project is $350,000 and approximately 1827th Street Northeast. The submission is in conformance with the adopted policy. Council action is recommended to approve the abatement as presented.
Council? If there's nothing, we need a resolution.
This is a public hearing.
So
Mayor.
move the resolution.
Oh, wait, no, it's a public hearing. Is anybody here that wants to make a comment on this? Anybody in the public? Anybody at all? Okay, if not, we need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 6 is a resolution, public hearing on assessments for 2016-17 snow removal. Greg, or Ann?
Yes, Mayor and Council. The public hearings that are coming up are our typical fall public hearings for snow, grass and weed removal, junk. We have hazardous housing and administrative citations this year. We have sidewalk and miscellaneous in-drive projects, and then also one street assessment that was continued from our March hearing. So if you have any questions as we go through the public hearings, we can answer those for you.
Council? Anything? Public hearing, any input, comments? If not, we need a resolution for 6.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second? Second. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 7 is resolution, public hearing on assessments for 2016-17 garbage and junk removal. Ann?
Yes, the assessments for garbage and junk removal are presented for you, and we just request you adopt the resolution.
Council?
So moved.
Second. Anybody from the public have any comments? If not, we need a resolution.
So moved.
Second. Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 8 is a public hearing on assessments for 2016-17 grass and weed removal.
And these would be the assessments for grass and weed removals. I do believe we have one gentleman in the audience that wanted to comment on this. You need to come up to the microphone and say your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Lee Lindquist. I live at, well, what it's about is Lot 10, Block,
Where do you live?
Busted Edition.
Okay.
But it's about a vacant lot that I had mowed, and I got a $151, if I remember right, assessment against it. But it was mowed. And I'm just trying to figure out why. I mean, I was talking to,
I'll have you get a hold of Holly after the meeting, and she'll probably need time.
Mayor, can I,
Or-
could I say something?
Ann?
Kim and I have spoke with this gentleman this afternoon, and we've made, at least in our opinion, a determination that it was in violation. He was sent a letter. I don't believe he accepted the letter. The grass was mowed. We're not sure if he mowed it before that, but the contractor, when he went over, we believe the grass was in violation, and this assessment is proper.
it says it's no more than 8 inches. It was less than 8 because I just got done mowing it that Thursday, following Monday, which was July 10th, I believe.
Okay, you'd be looking at Kim, I guess, instead of Holly. Kim's in charge of that.
We talked.
What's that?
I'm
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, I don't mind paying for it, but the deal is, it was mowed. That's what I have a problem with.
Okay. Well,
If it
apparently
was
they-
mowed, was the
And
contractor still mowing?
she tried to find evidence today, and it was to no avail. So I was recommended to come down here and voice
concerns.
my concern, you know, that I'm being unjustly,
I did call the contractor as well to check his records. He did not call me back before I came down here for the meeting, so I have not spoke to him again this afternoon.
Why don't you get together after the meeting and she'll talk to the contractor and get a hold of you.
okay, thank
Give
you.
you an answer tonight, okay? Because we haven't talked to the contractor,
All right,
okay?
thank you.
Mayor? Sir?
Mayor?
So do you want to remove him from the agenda? If we remove him, it won't be possible that he will be assessed for 2018 based on the timelines we have to meet for the county. And Kim and I have researched this, and we do believe that it was properly mailed and served upon him, and it was mowed properly.
Keep it on the agenda. If the council is convinced we were in the wrong, we can reimburse them at some point. But we're gonna keep it on the agenda.
How do you reimburse me?
I guess we'd write you a check.
But I mean, how do we go about this
I
process?
don't know, you know, I don't know. Tim could talk
Okay.
about it. I'm gonna assume you probably are in violation, and that's my, you know, because we wouldn't be here if it wasn't, but we'll check it for you. So, and if it wasn't,
Mayor, I'd request just adopt the resolution as is. When Kim and the contractor talk, Kim, the contractor, and Ann can get together and make a determination whether what was done on it, and if it is indeed he shouldn't have done anything with it, then we will just reimburse him a check, we'll
yeah,
cut him a
just
check back.
reimburse you if we cut your grass if it was over.
But that'll be their determination to make with the contractor.
Okay? Okay,
Who makes the determination?
I guess.
Park and Rec Director Kim Underwood, whose department is in charge of the weed control program.
All right. I'm just curious.
Yep,
You know.
no,
Okay,
We need to adopt that as is.
we just adopt it as is, and then we'll
Yes.
just make it a reimbursement if needed. Okay, so we're on number 8, right?
yep.
Once again, 8 is a public hearing on assessments for 2016-17 grass and weed removal. Anybody else have any input? Public, council, anybody else? Now we need a resolution.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson. Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 9 is a public hearing on assessments for hazardous housing. Ann?
These would be hazardous housing cases where the court order went through. It was already abated, but we got the court order to tax costs on these properties. So these would be houses that we did take down either in 2015, maybe in 2016.
Okay, council? Anybody here want to make a comment, statement? If not, we need a resolution for 9.
So move the
Is there a
resolution.
second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 10 is a public hearing on assessments for administrative citations.
These would be for our new administrative citation process. These individuals were given citations, given the opportunity to pay and did not prior to this assessment date. So they would be assessed, it was either for mowing or some other sort of violation.
Council, anything? Anybody here for this public hearing? Anybody have any comments, statements? If not, we need a resolution.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 11 is a public hearing on assessment for miscellaneous sidewalk and driveway projects.
Yes, this is for the sidewalk and driveway projects. I just have one change, the second parcel on that list. We'd like to update the amount to $1,633.73. It's lower than the amount that he was originally given the letter for. There was just less work performed. So we'd like to have the correct amount on the assessment. So if we could have the assessment adopted as modified.
Okay, council? Public hearing, anybody we need a resolution for 11.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dankert.
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 12 is a public hearing on street and sidewalk improvement assessment for one property on project 17104. And
We need, on 11, there's 2 resolutions for A and B. So
11B.
if we could do another resolution for 11?
The
Sorry,
first
I
one
didn't-
is just to declare the cost. Now we need one to adopt the assessment.
okay, we need a resolution to adopt the, oh, I see, I missed one. Resolution to adopt the assessment on 11.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher. Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson. Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 12 is a 2 resolution, public hearing on street and sidewalk improvement for assessment for one property on project 17104. Ann?
This is a woman who objected or had some questions and concerns from our original meetings in March. Stephen has talked to her over this summer, and then we re-noticed her so we could assess her again this fall. So it's just one property on the One Street project, 17104.
Okay, council? Anybody here for this? Want to make a statement, comment? If not, we need a resolution declaring the cost of the assessment.
So move the resolution. Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson. Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
And 12B is we need a resolution adopting the assessment roll.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson. Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. Under bid openings and awards, 13 is a motion receiving bids for building demolition. Ms. Wallace?
Your Honor and council members, we have received formal bids for the demolition of structures listed below. In the table with the cost breakdown, there are 6 residential structures and 2 commercial structures. The breakdown of the bids are summarized from lowest to highest. We are recommending that the low bid from Hanson Hauling and Excavating in the amount of $71,500 be approved. The funding for the projects, the residential projects would be through our hazardous structure nuisance abatement funds, and the funding for the commercial properties would be, they were flood buyouts, so it would be 50% local option sales tax and 50% DNR. If you have any questions, let me know.
Council, any questions? If not, we need a motion for 13.
So move the resolution.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Under petitions and requests, 14 is a resolution approving a contract for private redevelopment for Fox Point Townhomes LP. Mr. Dankert?
Your Honor, we'd like to make a correction on item 13. We actually need a resolution for the building demolition bid, so if we could have a resolution instead of the motion.
Okay, let's do 13 as a resolution, and we need a resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember at Large Anderson. Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 14 is a resolution approving a contract for private redevelopment with Fox Point Townhomes LP. Tom?
John Erickson and the Austin HRA are working on a low to moderate income housing project out just north of next to the Walmart facility. It's going to include 38 townhome units, and it's with a developer from Three Rivers as a partnership. Included within that agreement, and I believe they're still working on some final details, immaterial in nature, but included in that is a reimbursement to the Three Rivers Action Committee for $434,200 through the tax increments, and then anything above that up to the $896,895 that's in the project could be reimbursed back to the Housing and Redevelopment Authority for the costs they've got associated with the development. I believe the HRA board approved this at their last meeting, And we are now just requesting the city council approve the developer's agreement as well, subject to minor changes as may be pushed through by the HRA and their staff.
Council, anything? If not, we need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 14B is a resolution approving a cost reimbursement agreement for TIF funds with HRA and Fox Point Townhomes LP. Tom?
In relation to this Fox Point housing agreement, the Tax Increment Financing District state statutes require reimbursement or resolutions on file for reimbursing the tax increment for both Fox Point and for the HRA to get reimbursed. It's subject to state audits, and those are the documents that the state does require us to have on file. So we would request that the City Council authorize and approve the resolution establishing this reimbursement agreement for the HRA for the costs related to TIF number 14.
Council, anything? If not, we need a resolution.
So
14B.
moved.
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 15 is a resolution approving the issuance of bonds on behalf of the HRA for St. Mark's Nursing Home. Tom?
State statute and federal law allow entities like the HRA to issue some tax exempt bonds for facilities like nursing homes. St. Mark's currently has an issue outstanding, I believe, from 2011 that the HRA had done with them to help develop the new St. Mark's facility. In relation to that, St. Mark's is in essence in process of refinancing or refunding those bonds. They've issued new bonds at a lower rate that will be swapped out with current bondholders to allow them to have a better chance of making the cash flows at the facility to make the debt payments and operational payments. So the HRA board has approved this, and we'd request council approve the issuance of the St. Mark's Nursing Home Bond Series 2017 A and B. The City Council, the City of Austin, the HRA is not responsible for any of the debt service payments on this, but state statute requires the council to authorize this to allow them to use that state statute to get tax exempt bonds, which are at a lower rate for them.
Council, anything? If not, we need a resolution for 15.
So moved.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 16 is a resolution approving a transfer of on-sale and Sunday on-sale liquor to Bella Victoria Italian Cuisine Catering and Event Center. Ann?
Yes, we would request that the license held by Custodio Serrano be transferred to Bella Victoria's, which is going to go right over there in the old 1910 event center, the Turp Ballroom. So they've complied with all of our requirements for insurance and investigation, so we would request you approve this license.
Okay, council, anything? If not, we need a resolution.
So move the resolution.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Dankert?
Councilmember Hagan.
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Enright.
Aye.
King.
Aye.
Austin.
Aye.
Councilmember Large Anderson.
Aye.
Resolution passes 6-0, Your Honor.
Thank you. 17 is a motion approving the sale of Public Works and Fire Department surplus equipment. I got two, Stephen and Chief. Chief, you're the expert.
So after the fire department moved to the armor system, our VHF portable radios became surplus equipment. We have not used these since 2014. I would like to sell them at the police auction, and if they don't sell there, there's somebody that needs a donation. I would like to make the donation after that, if they don't sell at the police auction.
Okay. Council, anything? If not, we need a motion.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 18 is a series of 3 motions granting the Planning and Zoning Department the power to contract for the removal of junk and/or illegally stored vehicles at the following location. A, 104 19th Street Northwest, the Denaway property. We need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? B, 1812 Oakland Avenue East, Affordable Rentals LLC. Need a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And finally, C, 1203 9th Street Northeast, Dominic 1701 Trust Property. Need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are now to citizens addressing the council. Is anybody here that wishes to address the council on tonight on items, any items? I don't care if it's on the agenda or not. David, we're gonna get to you at the work session.
I'd like to address the council.
Okay, you gotta come up here, give us your name and address.
Hello, my name is Deidre Smith. Know several faces I recognize. I live on 3916 Oakland Avenue West, right across the street from where the new possible Hy-Vee distribution center will be put. And I have a little story I'd like to share with you. On April 29th this year, my world was devastated, came to a halt. The call everyone dreads, a death in the family. On the 29th, I raced over to my father-in-law's to find he'd passed away, peacefully and asleep, in his home, on his couch, exactly the way he had always wished to go. The home that he had lived in for over 50 years. The home his wife died in 26 years, exactly to the day. As the days and weeks went on, my husband, Randy, and I found ourselves at this house every day, cleaning out, packing up his things, sitting out on the patio, enjoying this beautiful home that my husband was born and raised in, where along with his 2 other siblings, still bring their children to this day. We found ourselves praying about moving out to this beautiful place. If we moved, we'd be leaving our city home, which was, definitely what we wanted. But we also would be leaving a 5-bedroom house to live in a double-wide trailer. Super fantastic. We sought out what it would cost to build, put an addition on, and we decided that we could not pass up this beautiful piece of land. We would make it work. It was an absolute no-brainer that this was where we wanted to continue raising our 3 children. Then the news of the Hy-Vee distribution center came. We learned of this through the paper just 2 weeks ago on the 18th. And at first I wasn't sure what to think. Started to do a little research and was devastated to learn just what this might mean to my family. The sole reason for our move has come crashing down. We would never have moved out of our previous home we had owned. Never. And now not sure we could even sell this property if we wanted to, but I'll leave that discussion to people who have much more knowledge in property value and resale. I come before you today to share my story, not to change your minds, because as Mayor Steem had said in the last meeting I watched on YouTube, that you wouldn't even be to this point if you weren't certain that the inspections were probably not going to go through. I'm here because Randy and I are now lost. This will be a devastating impact on my family. We will not stay at this home we were hoping to build on and stay in forever. So where does that leave us? Where does it leave any of us that live directly across from this facility, many of which have been there just as long as my father-in-law was? I'm here before you today to ask that you no longer keep any of us in the dark moving forward. We already feel blindsided a little, and many of us have big decisions to make. Do we stay? Do we go? Do we move? For us, we've already decided that we can't move forward with building our home there, or an addition that we were supposed to start in October. My family of 5 will continue to live in a tiny little double-wide trailer. If we do stay, what would this mean for the safety of my children? The road is already unsafe as it is. So my fear is that it will only become more dangerous for my children. We just really need answers. And while I'm not here to debate on how great this is going to be for the city, because it probably will be, I stand before you knowing without a doubt that this is not great for my family and many of the longtime residents of this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I'm Jeff Brinkman. I live at 650 33rd Street Northwest. I'm here on behalf of my parents. I had a couple questions. Just how many of you had read the adopted 2016 Comprehensive City Plan. Page to page.
Yes.
So 2. This project follows nothing within that city plan about strategic growth, preservation of home values, and smart growth. That's riddled through that document. And I would like to know, how does this not constitute spot zoning to these folks and nearby folks? When it was annexed, immediately zoned industrial, which I just learned today, for one purpose, for one company. And you can shake your head, Mr. Clark, like you've done before, but this was going to get a thorough scrubbing, right? How does this not constitute spot zoning? That's my only question. I've asked Mr. Hoverston in writing for a complete breakdown of how we got to this point, and I get a one-page piece of paper today from Holly. And I think it's fair that we get that information and that we are able to evaluate this. I know this is a big project, but when you develop a plan on how you're going to grow a town, people depend on that plan. People depend on safeties of zoning. That's what zoning's all about, is putting the right things in the right place and preserving the values and preserving the look of the community. And the first offer we get, that plan is out the door. And there is nothing that's in this Hy-Vee project that fits within that plan, other than growth. That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
Doug Berger, is this on? Doug Bergerman, 102 37th Street Northwest. I'm also directly across the road, as you obviously already know from the previous meeting, but clearly don't care. I mainly want to share, our house is now on the market. I had no intentions of moving, and I'm sure I probably won't, because I will be shocked if we can move. As you indicated, this would have no impact on our value of our home. It is on the market. The very first showing, the response was, the house shows nicely, although because of the Hy-Vee distribution center that is planned to be built, the traffic and noise basically prevent us from pursuing this home. Granted, this is just one, but you can count on me being here for successive meetings over the coming year, 2 years, whatever it is, to share this. And at some point, I expect some sort of something for our lost value. I don't think we should be forced to stay there if we can't sell our home, and I can document that it's not worth what it's assessed at. Something needs to be done.
Okay, anybody else?
Joanne Bergerman, 102 37th Street Northwest. I'd just like to know, because you need to be informed when you vote and make decisions, can anyone on the council give me a point of reference as to what the size of a 1 million square foot building is?
As to what?
The size, a point of reference to the size of a 1 million square foot building. Anyone?
About 25 city blocks.
Okay. I'm impressed. Someone actually had an answer. It's over 22 acres. It's 17 and a half football fields, including the end zones, of just a building. That does not include the parking and then all the trucks that will be there. Frankly, this decision has disrupted my life, and it basically has destroyed our future plans and dreams.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, all I can say is we don't even know.
There's another
What's
video.
up? Come on up.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Jane Osbo. Can you hear me? Usually can without a mic. I live at 101 37th Street Northwest. I too am directly across from the proposed site. And Dee Dee, you're breaking my heart. I think it's pretty well, I think you should understand how life-changing this is. My husband and I are retired. We've lived at the same address for 31 years. We raised our children there. When we originally bought out there, it was in the country across from a cornfield. And unlike some people have suggested, I should have known, because it was along the interstate, that it would be developed for industrial purposes. As I told the individual that said that to me, my crystal ball doesn't work. So, sorry, 31 years ago, it wasn't on my radar. What can I say? My question is, I think one of the really frightening things when you're faced with this is that it's a huge change. And I hope all of you can appreciate how huge this change is. We're operating with little information, and we can't even begin to fathom. In the middle of the night when you're imagining, you only imagine worst case scenario. So my question is, when will something be available to us so we know what we're dealing with? We know it's a 1 million square foot building, but I don't know where they're going, any placement. I don't know, are they gonna be on, is it gonna be on the east end, the west end, where the entrance? When can I expect, can the public expect some sort of a proposed plan? Because obviously there's some sort of a plan. You don't just jump into this without a plan.
I'll tell you this, you know as much as we do. We have gotten nothing as to where, where it's gonna be, how many trucks, where they're gonna go in, we don't know anything about that. And right now, we're starting an environmental impact statement, and until that comes out, we just won't know. I mean, we won't know.
Yeah, it's the same thing that I've heard. I know there's a plan out there, because I don't think a company the size of Hy-Vee is going to just operate it.
To be honest, I think they're developing the plan right now, to be honest with you.
Okay, so then my question is, after the environmental impact study is completed, what kind of a time frame? You tell us that there's citizen input. What
During
kind
the
of a time frame
There'll be
before?
There'll be citizens' input during the environmental impact statement.
Okay, and then after the results of that are in, then it's voted on immediately?
I don't know. We've never done a project this size
Yeah, you
since
see,
I've been mayor. I've been mayor for 10 years, so 10 and a half, almost 11.
In reading about the environmental impact statement, I have also read that it's a non-binding in terms of, it's binding if they were putting a chemical site in there, or if they found pollution in the land or soil or water runoff or whatever. But the citizen input is just suggestions. If you read what it says for environmental impact study, that's what it is. It's supposed to be a suggestion, but there's nothing that guarantees that any of these suggestions are going to fall on anything but deaf ears.
No. All I can tell you is it's Hy-Vee. Hy-Vee, I've talked to other cities, and they've been very good corporate neighbors. They're very happy with them, at the other cities. I mean, there's a lot of things that could have went in there. Most things that would be a lot worse than a distribution center. So that's all I can say. I mean, right now, you're on a highway. Is it gonna increase at 10%, the traffic 10%? I don't know, but Doug, you've had your chance already. We're not gonna go back and forth and back and forth.
I would
So-
just like to add, though, that part of the, as the planning progresses, and we do have information from Hy-Vee on how that building is gonna be positioned, and how, I would suspect, and I don't know at this point, none of us know for sure exactly how it's gonna be situated, but it would be the least invasive. So it would make the most sense in terms of the Hy-Vee Corporation to not put the driveways where the trucks are, coming and going directly across the road from a residential area. As you mentioned, it's a huge, somebody else mentioned, it's a huge space. So the the planning as it proceeds would be in the best interest of being a good neighbor to have it be the least invasive to the homeowners.
But there will be time for after the whole study comes out, there will be time when we can discuss it and, you know, and you're open for discussion?
I would assume.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Doug, what do you got? Come on up, you wanted to say something else? Okay.
I was just commenting, it's gonna be way more than 10%.
What's that?
You talk about increased traffic.
We don't know.
It seems to me, all you guys can tell us, 1 million square feet, Hy-Vee wants that spot. If you have no other ideas about the project, you can't answer any questions. I mean, why vote for something that you're gonna okay going ahead with this?
Well, part of
That's
it,
all you can tell us.
part of it was the representative from Hy-Vee mentioned at the last meeting is that if they reveal much more, it affects the environmental impact study. So just revealing that it's a 1 million square foot facility to precipitate the study being done is what they're doing on their part. And to do anything more would adversely affect the environmental impact study, I think is what he indicated.
I think the other thing that you might want to consider, you brought up the fact that it's 22 acres and they have 150 acres to put it on. So
Right.
15% of it will be building, 85% of it will not be building.
Absolutely, I would. All right, well, this isn't a public hearing and it's not an open meeting where everybody can speak up. Has anybody not made a statement that would like to talk? Otherwise, we're gonna move on. Okay. With that, we are to reports and recommendations. Judy, we'll start with you tonight.
Nothing, Your Honor.
Steve?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Yep.
I have nothing, Your Honor.
I'd just like to let people know that there's a hurricane relief benefit this Saturday at the Hormel Historic Home from 1 to 8. It's an Oktoberfest celebration, so there will be food and music, and the proceeds will all go to hurricane relief.
Dave?
Tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. out at Riverland will be a ribbon cutting ceremony for the new John Deere simulator. I know it's actually a big deal, and we got a new ag class out there now, and I'd like to mention it.
Paul?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Craig?
Yes. Hopefully residents can take some time and go to bestmntown.com and vote for Austin. We were recognized as one of the finalists for that, to be awarded some resources if we win the voting. So you can vote up to 10 times a day. Just enter your email address and vote for Austin. That's all I have.
Do you have any reports?
None.
Okay, then we need a motion to adjourn till October 16th.
So moved.
Second.
On favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Mayor, we're gonna hold the first part of the work session in here for
Yes.
the community rights. And then we'll move on.
Stipulated in the paragraph and the lease agreement as well, related to the gyms, aquatic center, fitness center, track, gymnasium center, locker rooms, etc., which generally would confine the details of a community recreation center. Those details are outlined in the floor plans, and it's staff's opinion that it meets the requirements of the lease agreement. We hope to get council's approval that indeed meets the terms of the lease agreement. This also allows for the progress of the site to be, funds to be released for Austin Utilities to move forward with the demolition of the site and prepare it for the Community Recreation Center. It also allows for the funding partners to have the commitment from the city to the lease agreement and take the next steps forward as far as the conditional purchase agreement is concerned with Austin Utilities, of which the city would be the eventual owner of the property and the facility at time of completion. Tanya Metgarden, Matt Cano, chairs of the Community Recreation Center, and Greg Seams, as well as Arlen Chamber, the project coordinator, are here this evening to add other details and answer any of council questions. Otherwise, council action is requested to approve the schematic design and attach the design as Exhibit B for the lease agreement, thereby authorizing the mayor to sign and recorder attest the agreement.
Okay, you think I'd put on a presentation, or how are we gonna do this? Well, let me put it this way. Council, do you have any questions?
So far, I'd just like to say, well, I think, do I need this? We're not doing TV now, are we? Oh, they can hear better.
I can't hear
Sit
you.
closer. I'm just curious about, there was conversation at one point about kind of trying to recreate, seeing how it wasn't feasible to do anything with the turbine room, just practicality, that there was some conversation at one of the design meetings about maybe incorporating some of those elements or some of that feel, and also some use of some of the dials and things like that, that would, on one wall perhaps, that would represent what that site had been. And I was just wondering if that was still part of the plan.
Do you want us to come up there?
Yeah, come on up here.
Yes, so we did talk about that, you know, some kind of tribute
Recognition.
to what used to be at the facility, and where we're at with that is there's certain things in there that the Austin Utilities wanted to maintain, so what we've done is kind of given them the option of what would you like to see from your history with this building included here, and so we're kind of waiting for a response for them in regards to that. Anything else you want to add?
There's a couple meter panels that are in the existing turbine room that are a possibility, so we're looking at maybe utilizing them. But again, it's Austin Utilities first looking at what they're going to use,
Sure.
and then whatever's left over, we'll have to take a look at.
Okay. Thank you.
Craig, did you have something else?
Yeah, I did forget to mention in the packet is 2 designs on the second floor. What we're hoping council would consider approving tonight would be the smaller option. There's a goal to try to fund a little bit larger gym and an additional studio, fitness studio, which you see on the third diagram there. But we'd be approving at a minimum that the facility would include those items on the first and second floor of the second page, and then the stretch goal would be if funding allows for the accommodation of the larger gym and the added studio. So I meant to add that as well.
Okay. Council? Is there anything more on a timeline? I mean,
I'd like to ask Arlen which one he thinks is the best design for the second floor.
I don't think it's a.
I don't think it's the best, but I know there's a wish in the community to have the bigger gym on the second floor. However, that really depends on the community fund drive.
Okay.
If we can't achieve getting the money that's needed in order to do it, then we'll have to drop back to option A.
Makes sense.
you got any more questions? I tried to get one in and he kind of interrupted me, so I want to be interrupted
I hate to interrupt
again.
you, Mayor.
Sure?
Yeah.
All right, anybody else? Don't ask me, well, I guess I do. I'm sorry, Connie, you were gonna say something about the timeline.
Yeah, we need these agreements signed. That's kind of our rush now, and that's why we're here to hopefully get approval of these agreements so that they can get signed and we can proceed with demolition. We're still hoping to break ground in late spring of 2018, so that's still the goal.
Is there any more you know, we have to prove this at the next meeting,
Yeah.
and this is just a preliminary. Council, you have any more questions? Sorry, Dave, I was just kidding around.
Yeah.
Sort of. All right, do we need a motion? Do we pick a design? Do we need to pick one of these designs?
We'd be approving at a minimum the
first.
first, second floor, and then the other one is for reference as an optional. We would not come back if the funding allows for the expanded facility, then we'd move forward with that and include that as part of the exhibit. But what we're approving is a minimum floor of the first and second page of the diagram.
Do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we got it.
Thank you.
And 2 weeks from now, we'll approve it. I would assume, unless 4 people change their mind. Okay, then we'll take a break and take a 5-10 minute break and meet in the small conference room.